So, I mean, the whole Iraq thing, we won't go into it in too much detail, but I mean, where do we go now with Iraq? I mean, if you're in charge, what would you do?
I don't know. I mean, I think, I'd pull out as soon as possible, but... I mean, it's just one of these questions, a bit like, hello, yeah, right, what's happened is I've just murdered my wife, okay, now I want to know what should I do with the body. Do you think I should bury it in the garden, or should I get a big sort of one of those big wood chipping things and do it that way? It's like, you don't answer that question. You sort of back away quietly and go and phone the police and say, I've got a nutter here. I don't know what the hell the solution is, for pulling out immediately as fast as possible, whatever is the best thing, if it would lead to more bloodshed. I suspect not. That always seems to be the excuse. We've got to stay, otherwise there'll be more bloodshed. And I think it's usually a lot of bollocks, quite frankly. But, I think the main thing is almost not so much about Iraq now. It's about not making the same mistakes again. But that means not supporting dictators, not supporting people like Musharraf in Pakistan, not supporting the Saudis. It's about not making exactly the same mistakes that led to this in the first place. I mean, why were there so many weapons? Why were the Mujahideen so well funded? Because they've been paid by the Americans, they've been bought off by the Americans when those pesky Soviets invaded Afghanistan. This is a continual process of funding the bad guys because they're not quite as bad as the bad guys you really hate. Why was Saddam Hussein flavour of the decade for so long? Because he was opposed to those pesky mullahs in Iran, and then you find out that he's become a bad guy. He was always a bad guy. He was always a despicable hound of a man.
So it's interfering in foreign
policy. It is,
foreign
it's always finding some horrible person to back because they happen to be opposed to someone else you hate even more. It's just a stupid way of organising your life. It's this thing sort of exists on the left as well. It's this phrase, my enemy's enemy is my friend. And I think that is cretinous. I think it's absolutely infantile. It's really, really stupid and just bizarre way, childish way almost to look at the reality of world politics.
Now, Matter is out now.
It sure is.
Yes. And who you were trying to appeal to with this? Is it existing fans, or would you be able to get?
Oh, yeah, definitely existing fans.
But is it aimed at new readers too? I mean, if
Not
someone
particularly, frankly, no. I think it's pulling in a few, mind you, but not really. I'm just writing for me. I always write my books to appeal to me personally. I'm very sort of self-centered that way. On the other hand, it means I can't be wrong. If I produce something, that's really good. That's it, job done. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Okay, I exaggerate a little. But,
I mean, are you critical of what you do, or once you've done it?
I try to be. Yes, yeah. I mean, you get used to having an editor, you get used to being edited, and you try to preempt the editing process.
And just between us, what do you think of the editor?
It's actually very good, yeah. But I did a lot of it myself because I did a lot of it sort of on with my very first editor, a chap called James Hale. He's dead now, sadly, but I tried to imagine him looking over my shoulder, and I can almost hear his voice, saying, "Now, Banksy, that entire paragraph it might look very beautiful, but does it actually add anything to the story? Does it take you anywhere, or is it just a mere digression to make yourself look clever?" And all too often the answer is okay, you're right, I'll take it out. But yeah, I mean, the book was properly edited, and it's benefited from that. As I say, it shrank by a fair bit in the editing process. I think it tightened up quite a lot, which is only to the good.
So do you have more in the series? In you, do you think?
I reckon the next SF book, and probably in 3 years' time, will be another cultural novel. I think it's time to do two at a time again. So, yeah, I reckon. Don't hold me to it. I think it's a very, very strong likelihood that the next one will be a cultural novel. I've no idea what yet, but I have no idea what the next mainstream one's going to be. I'm going to write it later on. This is where are we? This is February, end of February now when we're doing this, and I've got to start writing on, I think it's Monday the 10th of October. It'll be mainstream, that's all I know.
Which do you prefer, the science fiction or the mainstream?
Just by a short ahead, the science fiction. That's because I get to,
You can do anything you like, presumably.
Yeah, exactly. You can pull out, there are stops to be pulled out, so I can pull out them. And yeah, I just get to, give full rein to my imagination. In some ways, the mainstream's slightly more rewarding to have done, as it were, to the same degree, so there's not very much in it. And the main thing is that I just love being able to do both. It's not so much that it's not really about loving one more than the other. I just love the fact I get away with it. I'm allowed to write in 2 different genres. I'm just tickled pink by the very idea.
And you have the different names. It's Iain M. Banks for the science fiction, and No M for the mainstream. And again, this might have been completely made up, but I read that you were steered away from the name Iain M. Banks because it sounded too much like Rosie M. Banks, the author in the P.G. Wodehouse. Romantic fiction, I think, wasn't it, that she wrote?
Yeah, the more I thought about it in later years, I decided that James Hale, I think he was using that as an excuse. He just didn't like the M, and he was using that as an excuse. I can't imagine anyone would make even a subconscious connection between the guy who wrote The Wasp Factory and a fictitious, bad woman's novelist from the 1920s, invented by P.G. Wodehouse. So I think he just didn't like it. In fact, I wasn't bothered. I didn't care. So as long as it got my name on it in some form or fashion, I wasn't bothered about the initial. But some of my family objected and thought the M should be in there, so I put it back for the science fiction. It seemed like a good idea at the time. It's kind of a legacy system now. I just have to cope with it.
Well, the latest book matter is in the shops right now.
Yeah.
Iain Banks, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.